Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I wanted to talk to you about one of my personal favorite directors, Christopher Nolan. A little background about Christopher Nolan. He is one of the best actor directors today and one of the best directors of all time. This is shown by the fact that he has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards as well as 6 Golden Globes. His films have grossed over $5 billion worldwide at the box office, and his films have been nominated for 36 Academy Awards while winning 10. So, a little about Christopher Nolan's early life is he was born in Westchester, England in 1970. Growing up, Nolan spent time between the US and England, and he actually spent time in the US here in Illinois. Nolan was interested in filmmaking from a young age and would routinely make short films at home with his brothers and his father's camera. He actually would make these films with his toys and would film them in different sequences, and would also make home videos with his siblings, where his siblings would be the actors. Nolan would later attend Haileybury and Imperial Service College and studied English at the University College London, which he chose to attend actually because of its sizable filmmaking department. It was at this college that Nolan met his wife of 23 years, Emma Thomas. So Nolan's career started out with a few short, well-acclaimed and well-reviewed short films, such as Doodlebug, Larceny, and Tarantella. If you would like, actually, you can watch Doodlebug on YouTube. It is about a man who thinks he's trying to kill an insect, when in reality he is killing a smaller version of himself, and in doing so is killed by a larger version of himself. Nolan would then, after these short films, release his first feature-length film in 1998, titled Following. Many of the actors in this film were actually friends of Nolan, and due to constrained budgets, they would actually practice the scenes out multiple times before shooting the take, and they would only end up shooting the take in 1 or 2 times. And because of the fact that many of the actors in Following were actually friends of Nolan, the filming process of the movie took a year, since the actors had day jobs and they could only film after hours and on the weekends. Following was Nolan's first film, and it entered him into the door. His talent was evident from the beginning. After Following, Nolan was able to get the credibility to film Memento, a low-budget film released in 2000 to critical acclaim, which garnered 2 Academy Awards. Memento was then another stepping stool to Nolan's further success because Oscar-winner director Steven Soderbergh saw it and advertised Nolan to Warner Brothers Studios, which helped Nolan get the directing job for Insomnia, which allowed Nolan his first access to an all-star cast of Al Pacino, Robin Williams, and Hilary Swank, among others. Insomnia, released in 2002, marked Nolan's first collaboration with Warner Brothers, whom he has been working on for films ever since. So it was at this point after Insomnia where Nolan had first started reaching a lot of success, but he hadn't taken a big leap into mainstream media. And so after Insomnia, Nolan had earned the credibility and trust with Warner Brothers to make one of their biggest tentpoles, Batman. And in 2005, Batman Begins was released to widespread critical and box office acclaim. Batman Begins also was the first film in Nolan's future success streak. In 2005, he had Batman Begins. 2006, he released Prestige. The Dark Knight, his best film in my opinion, in 2008. Inception in 2010. The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. Interstellar in 2014. Dunkirk in 2017, and Tenet most recently in 2020. All of these films were released as major Hollywood films, and many of them were Hollywood tentpoles, meaning that they were films that studios relied on to make a lot of money. So the reason that Nolan's films have been so successful is that they have a few key defining characteristics that make them stand out among all others. So one of the biggest aspects of Christopher Nolan's filmmaking that has been constant throughout his filmography is the big twist in the third act. This twist usually has implications on the entire movie, meaning that the twist is so big and so integral to the plot that a rewatch of the movie will actually reveal things about it that you would not be able to notice without the third act twist. So basically, a lot of Nolan's films actually require a second and third viewing for you to fully understand and admire Nolan's art. So just a couple examples of these big twists that Nolan has. In The Prestige in 2006, Nolan spends the entire movie talking about two rival magicians. These magicians go to any and all lengths, including violence and near murder, to get back at each other. And at the end of The Prestige, that is where we find out that one of the magicians was actually living half a life. You see, in The Prestige, one of the biggest aspects of the film was that one magician, played by Christian Bale, had a trick that the other magician could not match. That was the disappearing man. Christian Bale's character would walk into a door and walk out the other one completely identical. Jackman spent the entire movie trying to copy this trick, and at the end of the movie we find out that the reason that Bale's character is able to accomplish this trick is because of the fact that he has an identical twin who, from birth, each of them lived half a life. Which is why throughout the movie, on a second rewatch, you'll realize that all of Bale's decisions that seemed like they're not right, such as having an affair with another woman, when in reality, the two twins each loved, one loved the wife and one loved the mistress. And so that twist makes the entire rest of the movie seem completely different. Another big reveal in a Christopher Nolan movie is Interstellar, which actually has two big reveals in the third act. One of those reveals is that the whole premise of Interstellar is humanity has expunged Earth of its resources, and because of that, astronauts have to go and find new inhabitable planets. The planets that they are looking at are the ones that had been flagged for ripe for human existence after a previous team of astronauts years ago had gone and found them. The whole plan is that while these astronauts do that, scientists on Earth would find a way to transport all of mankind back to these planets. The only problem is that in reality the scientists knew that this plan would not work because there was no way to, they believed that there was no way to send the rest of mankind to a new planet. And so they came up with a plan B, which was to send human embryos and repopulate humans on another planet. Another big twist on the third act of Interstellar was that one of the scientists, or the astronauts, in the first trip actually did not find a planet that could have humans live on it, and had in fact been lying so that he could be rescued. One final thing I want to talk about, another big third act twist, is in Memento. The entire plotline of Memento is that the main character, Leonard, has been trying to find the killer of his wife. The big reveal in the third wife is that Leonard, who suffers from short-term memory loss, meaning that he only remembers the past 15 minutes of what he's done due to a horrific accident after a few years of his life. He only remembers those past 15 minutes, and because of that, he is not aware that he accidentally killed his wife by re-giving her a dose of insulin, believing that since he has been reset, he hadn't done it yet. So another major aspect of Nolan's filmmaking, another iconic aspect to his filmmaking, is the structure of his storytelling. Most films use a linear model of storytelling, meaning that there's the beginning, middle, and end, and the characters at the beginning are a certain age, say that they're 10, and by the end, middle they're 15, and by the end they're 20. Events happen in order of chronological order. Nolan instead uses multiple different ways of mapping out a story. In The Prestige, for example, it starts where it ends. The two magicians are competing against each other, and so then it goes back in time to the beginning of their rivalry. By doing so, it does so by going and giving, each of the magicians has the other magician's diary, and they're reading the other magician's diary of how their life has gone since the rivalry began. And then we go through the past memories of those two magicians until we get back to the present, and then the story continues. Another major way that Nolan has changed his format of storytelling is Memento, which actually earned an Academy Award for its screenplay and storytelling method. And Memento basically has two separate plot lines. Because of the character's short-term memory loss, Nolan worked to worked his best to make it so that the audience felt like they also had short-term memory loss. Because of that, there's two sets of events, one in black and white and one in color. The black and white events are everything that happened to the character before the accident that left him only able to make memories for 15 minutes. That is this first block, and that travels, say, like this. It happens in black and white, and it's segued, and that is a linear form of storytelling. Then there is the other form of storytelling, which starts right before the ending of the movie, and works backwards until we understand what happens to the character. Well, we understand everything that's happened to the character, and so at the end of it, the two events collide, and it's slow segue back into color, and we're in the present. It's very hard to explain, it's very hard to understand. I recommend watching the film 2 or 3 times to fully understand it yourself. Finally, I want to talk about Dunkirk, in which Nolan tells 3 separate stories and then ends them all off together. So the first storyline is the beach, where the soldiers are trying to escape French beach during World War II, Dunkirk. And so the beach storyline takes place in the span of a week. And there's another storyline, which is the boat, in that there's sailors trying to get to Dunkirk to get the British soldiers back to Great Britain. That storyline happens in the course of a day. The final storyline is the air, in that there's fighter pilots trying to make sure and trying to do their best to keep German planes from destroying the boats and attacking the soldiers on Dunkirk. These 3 stories all happen at the same. They're all being told at the same time. However, one of them is a day span, one of them is a week, and one of them is an hour. And at the end, they all meet into a perfect conclusion.